Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Deepak Chopra? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background of Deepak Chopra, then I'll move to my analysis. Deepak Chopra was born in New Delhi, British India, on October 22, 1946. His father was a well-known cardiologist and lieutenant in the British Army. He was the medical advisor for Lord Mountbatten, the maternal uncle of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Deepak went to medical school, graduating in 1969. He specialized in endocrinology. He worked as a physician in rural India for a short time before emigrating to the United States in 1970. In 1973, he was licensed to practice medicine in Massachusetts. Deepak practiced traditional medicine for some time before becoming disgusted with the system. He believed physicians were essentially legalized drug dealers. He started his own alternative medicine association and adopted various New Age beliefs. He started charging people thousands of dollars for various cleansing rituals, including enemas, oil baths, and massages. He moved to California in 1993, becoming the director of another alternative medicine organization. This move shifted him away from transcendental meditation. He felt as though this practice being integrated into treatment delegitimized alternative medicine. Meditation was still part of his treatment philosophy, just no transcendental stuff. Deepak was not licensed to practice medicine in California until 2004. In California, Deepak would meet Michael Jackson. He was charging him $4,000 a week for services. Deepak wrote a book about alternative medicine that was published in 1993, the same year he moved to California. He was interviewed on the Oprah Winfrey Show, which led to him rapidly selling hundreds of thousands of copies of his book. His alternative medicine business exploded, earning about $20 million a year. Much of that revenue came from selling books, videos, courses, herbal supplements, and massage oils. By 2014, Deepak's net worth was over $80 million. At the time making this video, he has written more than 90 books. 21 have been New York Times bestsellers. Now moving to my analysis. Deepak Chopra is a controversial figure, to say the least. He has drawn the ire of many scientists who accuse him of peddling pseudoscience and putting people at risk. The idea is that people may be drawn to his so-called treatments rather than actual empirically based options. Let's take a look at some of his beliefs. It's important to note that he's not always clear about what he believes, which is a common problem for people who just make stuff up. So starting with his beliefs, people are not physical machines that learn to think, but thoughts that created a physical machine. He emphasizes the role of consciousness, suggesting that it influences all other systems, including relationships, physical health, and the environment. He seems to have kind of a constructivist or postmodern approach. That is, reality is different for everybody. There is no absolute truth. Consciousness creates reality for the individual. Deepak believes that a person may obtain perfect health, that is, a condition free from pain and disease, so that the person will never age and they will never die. This is because the human body is supported by a quantum mechanical structure, which is made up of energy and information and not made up of matter. Deepak believes that aging is a learned behavior. Age can be modified. One can slow it down, stop it, reverse it, or, if they're so inclined, speed it up. So I guess the solution is to stop teaching aging in school. Like students who miss that lesson won't have to worry about growing older. Seems to be an unusual conceptualization of age, to think of it as something that people need to learn. When Deepak Chopra was 73, he claimed that he had never been in the hospital and never had surgery. He said he couldn't remember having a cold, which one could interpret as indicating a memory problem, but I think what he meant was he never actually had a cold in his life. He said that he was slowing his aging down, and he planned to live way beyond 100. Deepak claims that he doesn't worry about anything. I guess that would include telling the truth or presenting factual information. One important note on the concept of aging, I talked about how, according to Deepak, aging can be sped up as well as slowed down and stopped and reversed. He said that the speeding up is caused by cynical mistrust. So that's pretty convenient for him. If somebody doesn't believe in Deepak Chopra, they are going to get older faster. If they do believe in him, then the aging process will slow down. Deepak has some interesting views on cancer. He claims that when cancer goes into remission, it's due to a change in quantum state. This change occurs because a new level of consciousness prohibits the existence of cancer. This is an example of what he refers to as quantum healing, which is the ability of one mode of consciousness to spontaneously correct the mistakes in another mode of consciousness, specifically the mind correcting the mistakes of the body. Deepak has been repeatedly told by actual physicists that he is misinterpreting physics and not using the terms correctly, but he continues to stick with his narrative. Deepak also made some unusual statements about AIDS. He said that DNA hears HIV in its vicinity, I guess with little DNA ears. The DNA mistakes HIV for a friendly or compatible sound. The HIV virus lures the DNA to its destruction with the sound, like HIV has a siren song. So DNA and HIV are like lovers in a bad relationship, I guess. Deepak's approach is to use a primordial sound, which corrects the sound distortion. So noise can defeat HIV. Deepak does have a lot of noise, so maybe it's a case of when one has a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Deepak has been accused of taking advantage of the placebo effect. This is the idea that an inert treatment will appear to have an effect because of the way a person thinks about it. So if somebody believes they're taking an effective treatment, they will feel better in various ways and believe that treatment is actually causing a physical change. Interestingly, Deepak embraces the placebo effect, saying that it is real medicine because it triggers the body's healing system. Deepak has an interesting theory about distance healing. He claims that he can use mental powers and make a person relax even if they are in another room, which makes sense because people should relax the more Deepak moves away from them. That means they're safer from all his different theories. He performed a so-called experiment to prove this distance healing theory, but it had substantial methodological challenges. Deepak claims to value science, but he is, I think, in fact, anti-science. He says that skeptics have never made a major scientific discovery or advanced the welfare of others. And he has criticized people who try to protect the public from pseudoscience. The question that comes up after reviewing all of Deepak Chopra's beliefs is, why does anybody believe him? He is arguably the most famous or notorious New Age nonsense broker, yet people just can't seem to throw money at him fast enough. I think that Deepak gained a lot of attention and sales because of his anti-aging message. A lot of people cannot face the existential truth of death. It's something that causes a lot of anxiety. It's on their mind. They want to live forever. They want to find the fountain of youth, but science will not deliver the solution they desire. Therefore, they turn to nonsense. They look at Deepak, who is a physician, as a reliable source of information, even though he makes unusual and unsupported claims. Some people simply need to believe him. They need to have the answer for their anxiety. He is not selling a method to cure illness. He is selling a method to free oneself of the fear of death. He is selling a delusion designed to lessen anxiety. Now, Deepak has aggravated more than just scientists. For example, he has not been a friend to people who promote meditation. He has taken something that is considered safe and relaxing and attributed all types of magical powers to it. So a lot of people who support the idea of using meditation are not pleased with this distortion. The next item I want to talk about is how Deepak uses vague and ambiguous statements in order to win people over to his belief system. This is a very common occurrence among New Age spiritual or motivational gurus like J. Arthur Ray and Tony Robbins. There was an article published in 2015 that studied the profoundness of randomly generated statements and those made by Deepak Chopra. The researchers took Deepak's actual Twitter quotes and created new quotes by randomly selecting and ordering words from those posts. Now, the sentence structure was maintained, so the sentences had proper grammar. But other than that, the second collection of statements was random. The ratings of the profoundness of both collections were highly correlated. Here's one way to look at that result. A large proportion of people could not tell the difference between Deepak's actual quotes and random sentences using his vocabulary. Or looking at it another way, the random sentence generator was as profound as Deepak. I think it really says something about a person's work when a random sentence generator can compete with them for a job. Like Deepak would be interviewing for a job and the interviewer would say, "We would like to hire you, but we also interviewed this random sentence generator who was really making a lot of sense." This result captures Deepak's level of nonsense. It should be devastating to his business, like game over, once the study came out, but no, people still believe him. Which brings me to the next point. Who is more likely to be tricked by somebody like Deepak? What type of person would believe him? Individuals with lower cognitive and reasoning ability and a higher investment in paranormal beliefs are more likely to be unable to differentiate his quotes from random sentences in terms of profoundness. Open-mindedness has an interesting relationship in all this as well. People who have reflexive open-mindedness accept information without conducting much processing. Reflective, as opposed to reflexive open-mindedness, is a mindset that searches for information in order to facilitate critical analysis and reflection. Reflexive open-mindedness is associated with believing Deepak. Reflective is not. So open-mindedness doesn't mean somebody's vulnerable to believing him. It's the type of open-mindedness that matters. Reflexive is not good. Reflective is good. I think Deepak Chopra's real contribution to society is exposing how easy it is to manipulate people. It's a wake-up call to society. Society needs to promote the development of critical thinking skills. It's not just something that would be convenient, it's necessary. Critical thinking skills are eroding quickly, and they need to be bolstered. They need to be encouraged and promoted across the population. I think Deepak became popular because he was a physician and on Oprah. Once he reached a certain level of fame, there was no going back. He essentially crowned himself a champion guru by combining terms from Star Trek and Eastern philosophy, inspiring a generation to battle illness by setting phasers to stun and firing quantum torpedoes. Those are my thoughts on Deepak Chopra. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis on this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.